Hey teams, welcome to the Communications Workshop. During this session, we're going to be looking at building some skills and confidence to communicate ideas effectively, especially when considering digital communication. These skills are valuable both during the challenge as well as into your life, especially when considering things like public speaking is one of the highest paid professions in the world. So our core skills are communicate and understand. This session includes a lot. So we're going to be covering communication tips, storyboarding, prototyping, slides and visuals, editing, submissions. So the submissions we're covering are your business launch video for the final day of the challenge, as well as your elevator pitch, which will be due today. So general communication tips. So whenever you're doing public speaking, or whether it's even things like in a job interview or talking in class, here are some really great tips. Firstly, don't read a script. It's really easy to get lost in your script and the words and lose your place. It's also an easy way to sound very robotic and disengaging, and can really become very monotone. So use notes instead, and on those notes, have some dot points to make sure that you're covering the things that you need to cover. So whether it's some key facts or key ideas, that you can keep your flow going. Show your passion. If you really care about something, other people will care about as well, whether it's a serious problem or something you're really excited about. And that leads me to the next point. Be really strong in your language. Use that great descriptive language, and that comes both to the tone of your voice as well as the exact words that you use. Don't say, oh, maybe this could work, or this is kind of an alright solution, or we could try this. This is a great solution. This is the definite way that we need to do things. Really use some strong language. Try and impress people. Leave people with something to remember you by. Asking questions is a great way to do this. Leave them with a great little impression. Know what you're trying to achieve by the session. Are you trying to get information, give information? Are you wanting to gain investment or a job? Why are you doing what you're doing? You can tell a story. A story is a great way to get people emotionally invested in what you're saying. You pick a moment. Describe the feelings, what you see, what you hear, what you smell. What is the big turning point? How do people feel when they're involved in a story? When people are emotionally involved in what you say, it's a great way to leave impact in their thoughts. Make eye contact. Get people engaged with you through eye contact. If you're looking everywhere else, it shows that you're not engaged in a conversation. Use your manners. Please, thank you. It goes a long way. Keep to time. If you go under time, it shows that you haven't done the research or covered the amount of information that you needed to make the time worthwhile. If you go way over time, you're almost saying to people that their time's not worth as much as yours. So make sure you keep to time. It's all about respecting the amount of time people have. In our busy lives, time is so valuable. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. It shows that you care about what you're talking about. If you're stumbling here or forgetting your words there, there's nothing more awkward than that weird silence that's sitting there if you don't know what you're talking about. Body language is key. Keep an open body language. Face to who you're talking about. If you're standing there slouching or leaning up against things, it almost makes it feel like you don't care. You're not putting your best foot forward. Think about the judges. They are watching you through your video, or if you're doing something in person, whether it's a job interview or whoever you're talking to, they make up their mind about you really, really quickly. So think about how you're dressing, how you're speaking, how you're standing. How can you put your best foot forward? The next thing I'm going to talk about is how to translate into the digital communication. So think carefully about where you record. The environment you record in is really important. It might be that you need a white wall behind you, but you could also go out and be creative. Think about the sound in the room. There's nothing worse than listening to something and it's really echoey or hard to hear. So just think carefully, is there a creative way you can show where you are? But also think about the sound and how that works in the space. Look at yourself on the screen or down the lens, so make eye contact. It can feel really awkward, but it makes a big difference to the person who's watching you on the other end. If you're looking everywhere else and you're not looking down the lens, you're not making eye contact to the person viewing you on the other side. Stories build connection even online. So just like we talked about telling a story in general, they're really important online as well, because you're not there in person. You can use a story to make that emotional connection. Online or digitally, visuals matter even more. So you can use these as a great way to engage your audience. So you can use slides, you can create animations, you can have pop-ups on your screen. So whether it's graphics alongside of you or down the bottom. So think about how you can do that creatively. Be confident and passionate. Even on screen, even more so on the screen, because you're not in the room with that face-to-face vibe of the room you can feed off. You need to be even more confident and more passionate online. Dress for success. I know you're just going to be in your own schools or at your own homes, but still make sure that you talk as a team. How are you going to dress? You can create a uniform or really be very engaging with that. Make sure the audio is very clear. So listen back to it yourself before you send it off for editing. If there's a lot of rustling or a lot of wind, it can make it really hard to hear your information. Keep it natural, even through the camera. I know we've talked about confidence and passion and going above and beyond, but try and be natural. Try and make sure that you're not going towards that robot or talking. It can sometimes help if you have a group of people, your team standing there alongside while you're filming, so you can feel as though you're talking to them. And get straight to the point. Don't wish-wash around and use up all the time that you have. With a video, people can disengage quickly. So make sure that you get to the point and get there quick. So, storyboarding. Now, with your video, you're going to have to submit a storyboard. This is a plan for your video before you start filming, and they are so important. It helps you make sure that you have a plan, so when it does come to filming time, you're not wasting time. So tips for your storyboarding. Plan ahead. It's really important. What shots are you going to need? And think of the visuals you're going to use and how and when you're going to display them. Use the boxes and the template to sketch out each shot, all right, and the little descriptor below it to talk about what that shot does. So it could be, for example, your introduction. You could show a shot of your team, and underneath it is the description of the camera pans from left to right as each person is introduced, with our logo coming up at the bottom of screen. So really plan it out well, and use the template on the Student Resources website. This needs to be submitted through the Student Resources website, and you can check your virtual binder for when that time and date is. So prototyping your idea. You're going to have to design a prototype, and it's better to start early on in the challenge so you can make sure it's done in time. There's a few different types of prototypes you can design. So firstly, you can have a physical model, whether it functions or it's non-functioning. Think about if you're selling a product and you want to create a physical model of what that looks like with colors, that's completely up to you. You can do a 3D walkthrough on a digital version of that. So those of you who are really tech savvy in your teams, you might want to do a 3D walkthrough. This would be really great if you're designing something like a restaurant or a hotel or a bushwalk or something like that, where you want people to walk through a space. You can also do sketch designs, so whether they're hand-drawn or computer designs, or a flowchart. So a flowchart is really helpful if you've got a service and you want to show how your service works or what the logistics are, so how customers come into contact with what you're doing. This could also come into a website, so you can also do a walkthrough of your website or a demonstration of how your website might work. So those are a few ideas of some prototypes you could use. Tips for prototyping: make sure you prioritize the testing aspects of your idea and you can show that to others. Don't spend too long on the designs. A prototype is usually a quick, basic model of what you do. Collaborate where possible, so use the skills in your team, and use the prototype in different submissions. So in your business case, you can put some photos of your prototype. So think about where else you can use that. Slides and visuals. So for your business launch video, you can definitely use slides or graphics in order to show an idea. Here's some great tips. Make sure that they're appealing and consistent. So don't use animations 1 second and then a picture of a real person and next. So try and make sure that all your visuals are really engaging, but they're really consistent throughout. Make sure they're really clear, so use easy to read fonts. Make sure that they're easy to see. Use contrasting colors, so you don't want to put some text on your screen that matches the background so that you can't actually see the text. Avoid long blocks of text. It makes it really difficult to keep people engaged and no one's going to read it. So use your slides to guide or your graphics to guide your presentation. Don't use it to show the script. Try and keep to one idea per graphic, so don't try and put in too many things into one slide or one graphic. Use photos, images, diagrams, maps. It's a really great way to show an idea. And remember that people will play with them on their screens, so the text needs to be really clear. So think that they might be using a mobile phone to watch them, or they might be on a computer screen that's a different size to yours. So just make sure that they're really, really clear. Now, when editing your video, so you're going to need to use a video editor to help bring together all the different clips and visuals as well as the audio tracks that are needed. So you can get a few really great free ones. But first, check with your team. You might have people in your team who already use video editing software. Maybe there's someone on the staff at your school that's really great with video editing that can give you some advice, some hints and tips. We do also have a workshop later in the week where you can get some help with that as well. Don't overcomplicate it. Just use the free open source software that's out there and use simple fades between clips. Don't try and make it too complicated and fancy. Use your storyboard to guide your editing and prepare bits of your video early. So if you've got graphics and stuff you can do early on in the week, do that. Also share the highest quality version. So sometimes if you're doing filming on your phone or different cameras, use the highest quality. We find if we use Messenger or email or something like that, it can sometimes come out all grainy and not great. We use WeTransfer. It's a really great way to do that. Also, give yourself time to practice using the software before your final submission. Don't underestimate how long it can take to get the hang of that. And also, don't estimate how long it can take to render and upload your video. So make sure you do it early because it can take a long time to edit and render and upload. So don't leave it to the last minute. So now down to your actual submissions. There's two that we're going to talk about now. The first one is your business launch presentation. So this is for 4 minutes long and it's professionally present your idea for investment and support. Now, while this is hypothetical, if you imagine it as though you're sending this to some sort of Shark Tank environment, you want to put your best into this, okay? It takes a while to do, so really make sure you plan for it. This is what it needs to include, and all this is on the student resources page as well. So your introduction, be strong, introduce everyone, who are they, really short, 20 seconds. Your problem, so that's your problem frame you wrote at the beginning of the week, and you might want to talk about some of the research that you've done into that problem as well. Your solution, so explain what your business does in detail. Now remember, the judges haven't been working with you all week, so you need to make sure you explain it clearly, and you can use your prototype in this section. Key milestones, so what are the steps that you need to take in order to get your business started? Target customers, so who are your customers? Be specific. Current industry, who else is out there and how do you stand out for them? What makes you different and special? Financial forecast, don't go into all the detail of your finances. Give us an overview, so show how you will be sustainable. What is the kind of investment that you will need? Do you expect to see a profit? Or if not, when do you expect to see a profit and how do you expect to make money? What support do you need? So what do you need to get started? Do you need permission from governments or councils? Do you need money? Do you need support? What do you need? And lastly is your impact or conclusion. All right, so close with something that will make you memorable. What change will you make? What will the impact of your business be? Why will your business be great? So that's your business launch presentation. Now your elevator pitch. This is what's due today. Your elevator pitch, it's as though you're stepping onto the bottom, into the bottom of an elevator on the bottom floor, and you've got about 30 seconds with the head honcho multi-millionaire from the bottom floor up to the office on the top floor, and you need to give them enough of an idea to get them to invite you into the office and hear more. This is what it needs to cover. Introduction, so who are you? Problem frame, you wrote that on the first day of the challenge. Your proposed solution, what is your business plan to do? What impact will it have? What difference will your business make? And then leave them with a hook. A hook is often a really great statement or a great question to get people to keep talking with you. Now, check your virtual binder for when this is due, because it will be due very, very soon. Now, what you need to do is you need to record it. So make a video of your 30-second pitch and submit it to the student resources page. All right. Good luck with your elevator pitch. We can't wait to hear them. So what now? Get your elevator pitch ready and filmed and submitted. Complete your planning canvas. Do your research into your problems, that's your market research, and continue with your financial tables. Really great if you can get your establishment costs done as soon as possible. All right, team, good luck.